Yeah, good day, everyone. You are welcome to this class on the course titled Rural Community Development and Extension. The very first unit we'll be talking about today is sociological perspective of development. Introduction. The perception of the concept of rural development depends on the individual, his environment, and general background. And what this implies is that people see development in different ways, depending on their individual perspective, depending on their cultural background, depending on how where they maybe the kind of environment or how they grow, where they grew up from. So that determines how they see development. Take for example, in the southwest, there is what they value there, like education. In the southeast, people value businesses as a means to struggle and survive. And in the north, they value politics. So if you want to talk about development, it depends the way it will be defined depends on our individual's background or kind of cultural perspective. Then development is a continuous process of generating and efficiently allocating resources for achieving socially satisfied needs. What this implies is that to develop, you need resources. Those coming to school to be educated, the resources they are putting into it is their time and their money. So I can come and develop itself personally. And then in a society as well, a community as well, for it to be developed, some resources are being put into use to achieve something crucial. Take, for example, there was a time that the government wanted to do something for some people in the community. They have to provide it. The government plan to do something in that community. But what the community must bring, or community provided the land where that work will be done. And they're not even and they provide the manpower. So this land, the manpower are resources coupled with the government funding that will enhance development in the community. So there's allocation of resources to achieve what is needed. Then, according to Weather Dictionary, is development is a move from the original position to a better position that provide more opportunities or benefits. That's what it is at individual level and even a communal level. People always see development in different ways, and then people need to be developed to stay the same. Nobody prays to be in a place where he has been for the past 10 years. And nobody hopes to remain in the same place where he or she is now in the next 10 years. So development is crucial to our lives. To understand this concept of development is important to every human and even community and for the economy as well. So people must understand development, why we need to develop ourselves. We cannot be doing the same thing, the same way and expect results. We cannot just stay in a place and believe we are going to peak. In Singapore, in Malaysia, UAE, Dubai, they were not like that in the May. They were not like that in the last 20, 30 years. And things have been changing, and that was because they made that plan. So as an individual, you must have a focus. Where will I be in the next 10 years? Where will I be in the next 5 years? And even in the community, we don't just allow a community to wither away. Ask ourselves, where do you push this community to? That is the question, that is the meaning of understanding. Then in recent times, rural development is gaining a lot of attention from different governments and even organizations throughout the entire world. Why? They believe that rural areas are places where we have farmers. Rural areas are areas where agricultural production is ongoing. Rural areas are places where we have those people producing food for the entire population. So if rural areas are not developed, what will happen? To lead to what they call rural urban migration. You see able-bodied young men living in the rural areas to the urban. They leave the rural areas to the cities because they want to enjoy the amenities, the internet, the good road, the good light. And then once that is being achieved, when they do those things, there will be labor reduction. Then who will now produce our food? And in that case, it will lead to hunger. It will lead to high cost of prices of food. It will lead to high cost of food prices. And in that case, serious government will now focus on how to build rural areas to ensure that the activity of agriculture is ongoing there so that it can be enough, food can be easily produced in those areas. So rural developments have as I have said before, Rural development it has a different views and it has different perspectives. But on this in this particular section, we're talking about the sociological perspective and the economic perspective. Then the very first one, sociological policy perspectives. Rural development has been defined as a far-reaching transformation in the structure and function of the rural community. When they say far-reaching implies those things you have not gotten, where you have not been to, those things you have not been able to get into that areas. No internet facilities, there is no stable light, we don't have good roads, there is no hospital, all those things. So those things are not present at that time. So to now ensure those things come is what they call rural development. Then there is indicators that they use to measure if actually a place is developed. There are five. If we say, okay, this particular area is developed or is not developed, there are some things you'll see there that will make us to know that actually it's been. Sometimes a place, a rural area can be developed, but maybe there is what you're expecting to say you have not been able to see. So and it depends on those indicators that will make you to know that actually it's developed. It might not have achieved a whole development, but if you have one or two of these, it shows that it's developed. And the very first one is what? The level of urbanization of that society. How urban is this rural areas? There are some rural areas that are far inside the bush. They are far inside. So for you to even have access to that place is something difficult. And there are some that are not that far. In fact, they have access to it, they have water, they have electricity. In that case, those water, good electricity, they are what people living in ambassadors, these people living in cities, that's what they enjoy as well. So level of urbanization is what is the very first you want to see how urban it is rural area. Second one is the level of literacy. Education brings opportunities. If you're educated, you are exposed to lots of opportunities. Educated person, is an enlightened person, and then by virtue of that, you're exposed to opportunities that you can. So in the community, if you have a lot of people who are literate, automatically they will bring development to that area. There's possibility that these people they will bring development. You have a doctor in a place, a medical doctor, you have an engineer, you have an architect, like that. Automatically, to bring something good to that development. Then we talk of mass media participation. Mass media is a means for people to hear our voices. It's a means to let people know who we are or what you want to pass across to people. So in a rural community where they have maybe they have some goods or what they do that can engage people, the level of participation will determine the level of the way people will know them. And the more people know what they have been doing there, what they are doing there, is what to make people to go and patronize them in that area. So if the community is actively involved in mass media, automatically it will be for the community to be known and recognized and developed. Then we talk of political participation. Political participation has to do with how involved are the rural people in politics, and we all know this. If in a rural community we have some politicians there who stand together and they support the political party, and the political party later, if the political party wins the election, automatically there is a way they compensate them for supporting. It happens everywhere. So political participation is a means for rural communities to be developed as well. Then we talk of opportunity for recreation and leisure. In a place where there are recreational facilities, where you can come, we have it in Afipo, the beach. I remember December is coming now. So there is a party where you see people should come there. Those that live from Enugu, from Abakaliki, they come and see. They will at least they are eager to development of that particular area. And that time people will come, say different things, spend their money, and it will help the community. So if there are recreational activities or leisure in the rural community, those things are means for developing that community. Then generally, human progress has been the concern of the founding fathers of sociology. When it is sociology, it's about study of humans. How are they living together? How are they progressing? How are they harmoniously placed themselves that not bring stability, that bring equilibrium or the other thing. So concept of development is a normative term. Yeah, Dolesier sees development as consisting of increase in output in all sectors of the economy and distribution of the output in such a way as to enhance quality of life of the broad masses. According to SEA, What he sees as development is that, okay, if there is an increase in output in a nation, in a state, for we to know that, for we to talk of development, automatically that output that is increasing in the state must touch the lives of the masses. It's not a case of just say, okay, we are progressing economically or politically, and then the masses are not feeling the impact of that progress. So Sia is saying that for we to have a development, if there is progress in the output of a nation or a community, it must be felt by the masses. Then, there are some crucial questions we have to ask ourselves in particular. Like we talk of what is happening to poverty. If we say, okay, the economy is progressing, is poverty too reducing? If economy is progressing, the poverty must be reduced. You want to know what is happening to unemployment. If the economy is if there is growth in the economy, we want to know, are people gainfully employed? If people are employed, if people are not employed, I mean we have large number of unemployed. I would say our society is progressing. No, that's not progress. That is not a development. If society progress and then people are not employed, then there is development. If society progresses, maybe there is increase in output, or maybe increase in national output, and then the money or the increase, the gain is not used to, to create jobs for the masses. Automatically, the society is not progressive. It's not developed. Then the third is what is happening to inequality. Inequality implies the gap between the rich and the poor. So if we, in a case where we have very few rich people and we have many poor people, and then the majority of them cannot even afford one dollar a day. So if the gap is too wide, there's no development. But if there is growth in the economy, there's growth in the national economy, and then they try to see how people can be taken, how they can to empower people and make people to live a better life, make people to live better lives. See, that's what they call it. It's not just people. Some people are so rich, while many people are so poor they cannot afford anything, and we see our economy is growing. And that's not the case according to SIA. Then we talk about three or four terms, three terms that they always use to mean development, even though they are development. We talk of modernization, we talk of westernization, we talk of growth, and we talk of development. These three one, I mean modernization, westernization, and growth, people sometimes use them to mean development, but it's not so. The very first one, Chastity says modernization as all encompassing process, which involves the creation of industrial labor force, urbanization, widespread political education of the people, widespread political participation, and other interdependent transformation in society. So if you are modernized, when we say modern means doing the same thing in different ways. Before maybe in the olden days when they want to plant a crop, they have to use their own and cutlasses. Now we now use some implements, tractors and some other implement that makes those implements make our work so easy. So you kind of modern, we call it modern equipment, modern technologies, modern way of doing things, modern processes. In the olden days, even until now, you don't want to press palm oil. It's how you see the women. You even watch a video, it's somehow you see the women dipping their leg into the coconut, those nuts that they used to wear. The people call it is it not apple? Is it apple? Or how they call it? So they are using their leg to smash the shell, to smash the flesh of that nut. And sometimes the palm oil will get to their thighs, and some occasions it even get to their, you know. So that is how they do it. If some of them are even menstruating, you see all their leg to their thighs are inside the palm oil. They say they are trying to extract the palm oil. That is the that is the way it's been done since. But now we now have some machines that can remove the shell and process palm oil in a very neat way. So modernization has to be doing the same thing in different ways to enhance productivity. And then so that one is not development. Then we talk of westernization. Westernization has to do with adopting the ideas of the West. In some occasion now, people when they say westernization, when they say the West, we talk about America, the Western countries, Europe, America. So that those are the when you see the West, then they are the Western countries. And many a times we follow their ideologies, we follow their way of life. We now think as if following their way of life is development. No, there are some things they do that doesn't. There are some things they do, and that those things don't bring goodness. They have what they call LGBTQ. They have their own Western ways. Not all the Western ways are good. But sometimes we equate that to development. It's not development. Let us see that for many times they even value some cultures we have respect our parents, we respect the elderly, and then we live harmoniously. All those things in Western countries, you cannot even there's a level your child you grow up to, you cannot even do anything with that child again. So those are Western ways. Those are Western ways. They are not development. Then we talk about growth. Growth has to be with increasing. Increase you can increase a country can increase in size. Take for example Nigeria. We keep increasing every time. Remember, does that imply development? No. So you can grow if there is a growth in the GNP of a nation, and that growth is now felt by the masses. But the positive effect of that growth is felt by the masses. You're not talking development. But if there is growth, maybe there is a growth in our output, growth in our income, and then people have not felt the effect of that growth in development. So growth, you can grow, people can there can be growth in figure, you can grow in number, yet people still live in abject poverty. So that is growth is a development. Now, this particular perspective has its own criticism. The very first one is that meaning the meaning in the identified development indicators vary with country and community. I've said that people see development in different ways. So it is like democracy. For instance, the Yorubas are the one that are most urbanized but not still developed. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. What those indicators may not mean the same thing with different people. It may not mean the same thing with the same people. People can be educated, it may not have much thing to show off. We see people see development in different ways. So that is the very first criticism that those indicators may not be the same with other companies, so with other people. Second is that mass media is equally controlled by the government. Consequently, it may be restricted it may be restricted in participation. So say yes, mass media is a means for development, as has been said in the perspective. But in some cases, they control what you see. Like in North Korea, for example. The government controls what you see. There are some things you can never see. That means the mass media is compromised. So it cannot be seen like South Korea, for example, like South Korea that is more like well, bring many people in. They are more developed. Not even North Korea that has controlled what the citizens can even hear or what they can see or they can hear. Then whether another thing is that whether I develop or not, rigging has not a part of political systems. Yes, from that indicator talk of political participation as a means of development. But it's not those critic of this perspective are not saying that despite the fact that we are highly educated, it doesn't stop rigging election. So political participation cannot be they are trying to condemn that, believing that we cannot say that being actively being actively involved in policies enhance development. Because despite the fact that we are educated, people to regulation and when the regulation, like what's happening in Nigeria, what is happening in Nigeria, people regulation pay a lot of money to win an election. With the winning election, they try to make the money back and suffer the masses. So that is those people that criticize that criticize this perspective, and they claim that this perspective is too theoretical. It's too theoretical for defining the base of for defining development. Then there is something that is called cinematia. Cinematia has its own view on development, and the view of cinematia is that some economic measures of development have been supplemented by casual reference non-economic social indicators like gains of literacy, sociology, health condition, services, evolution of housing. What this person is trying to say is that there's some things they call development. Actually, some things used as development indicators are not really development indicators. Those real indicators have been substituted with some things that are not really the indicators. Then an example of this is that in the early 70s, prior to 1970s in Nigeria, maybe in the 50s, in the 40s, in the 40s in Nigeria, in the 60s, if there is an economic growth, if there is an economic growth, maybe there is overall increase in the GNP. GNP means gross national product. You see, this growth in GNP, it will not just be only a figure. The growth will be felt by the masses. In the olden days, during those periods, people they attended school free of charge. In fact, like my father, you see, they always pay him for being a student in school. Everything they eat is free. Everything they eat then they were free. Everything they give to them is free of charge. Free accommodation, free food, free clothes, and they still pay them money after pay them money weekly or monthly. And that was where were the money coming from? The money came from what the government purse. So that's what Amartya is saying, that development, that if there is growth, it must be felt by the masses. And that is and not only like that, create more jobs, and then create next country where people can live comfortable and happy. Government is about the people. Government is for the people, not in the case whereby people are left to their feet, where the government officials are there enjoying it. That's not development, and it can never be development. Then the summary of this work, we talked about sociological perspectives, sociological perspective of development, and we try to differentiate between the modernization, westernization, and growth, and we want to make it known that this perspective too has its own weaknesses, as it has their strengths and weaknesses. Sociology is just a means of you let it know different people's ideas. We said in the beginning that people see development in different ways. So this course is just to bring different ideas to see how people see things, and that will determine how you too will see your own, and then what you will get from it. So we're stopping there. We continue in the next unit. Thanks for listening.